Okay, so we're gonna be doing some foam rolling today. If most of y'all haven't seen something called a foam roller, this is how it looks. Now you have different kinds of foam rollers with different textures and even softness for that matter. So the softer it is, the less efficient it is, but for beginners it's perfect. So I have this one which has a lot of grooves and serrations, so it's much better for a more advanced level. So what a foam roller does, it's something called self-myofascial release. Okay, so it's MFR, myofascial release, and that's what we use a foam roller for. So today while foam rolling, I'm gonna keep talking about the benefits of the foam roller, what you can do with this, and how it's actually gonna benefit your training before, during, after, and all of that, and other ways you can actually other tools that you can use for self-myofascial release if you guys don't have foam roller. But ideally it would be best if you had this. There are also foam balls, which is more specific because it's got a narrower surface area, so you can target smaller parts of the muscles. And if you also can use, there's something called a lacrosse ball. That's another great tool as well. And for those who don't have foam rollers at home, I did get a lot of questions about because you're gonna play the music. That's okay. So for those asking me, for those who don't have foam rollers at home, you can use your chapati rollers and get someone to actually smash your muscles. That's one way, or you can even use it yourself. Another tool you can use is a barbell. So I like using the barbell quite a bit because I feel like I can put a lot more pressure because after a while your arms are going to get tired with foam roller, but with the bar you can actually sit, relax, and then smash your muscles. So we're going to try and do like a full body foam rolling session, a couple of minutes on every muscle group, so we can use shooting in the dark. Nia, are you just trying to distract me because I come onto your lives and distract you? Okay, so we're going to do a few minutes on every muscle group. What we're going to do is start with the bigger muscle group, which are your quads, a little bit of the glutes, the back, which is again great for the back. So we're going to do a little bit of everything today so you guys have an idea of what to do with the foam roller. And for those who don't have a foam roller, don't worry, after the lockdown you're gonna order yourselves a foam roller, and I'm gonna save this video and post it so you can watch it some other time and do it follow that video along. That should be fine. Hopefully you guys can hear me today. There's no music except my dog breathing extremely heavily in the background because he just almost attacked another dog. So self-myofascial release. Now fascia is basically this thin connective tissue that we have all over our muscle groups, and the great thing about fascia is that it's interconnected. So the fascia on the muscles of your legs, your quads can be connected to your calf, can be connected to your glutes, can be connected to your upper back, can be connected to anything. So there are so many cross-sectional lines in the body with the fascia. So let's say you have a stiff ankle and you're unable to get low with your squat, so you're just stuck here. Beyond this, you tend to round your back and go down. So it could be a lot of stiffness around your calf, and let's say you foam roll your calf muscles, that can actually release the tension around your ankle, and so it allows you to go a lot lower. Alright, so let's say you have knee pain, and knee pain could just be from the stiffness of your quads, and that could be from inactive or weak glutes. So apart from strengthening your glutes, you can also try releasing your quads, and that would take away the stress on your knee, and your knee pain is going to go away or at least be alleviated. So there are a lot of things you can do with foam rolling. So what this means is that I'm not just releasing tension of the muscle, but I'm actually trying to release the tension of the fascia, and that sends signals to the brain, and the brain makes the muscles become softer and less tense, and that's how we get rid of the tightness in the muscles. So when I'm using this, I'm actually not directly affecting the muscles, but I'm actually affecting the fascia over the muscles, and that's sending signals to my central nervous system that's going to come back to my muscles again and loosen up that tightness, and that allows me to improve my range, whether it's going low with my squats or feeling less back pain, so many things. So anything that the muscle tightness leads to, foam rolling can take care of that. Now I'm just still going over a little bit of theory of foam rolling. So when do you do it and for how long? So you usually want a foam roll. Ideally, it can be used as a great warm-up tool. It can be used as a recovery tool. It can also be used intra-workout. So let's say my squat range is really poor and my back starts to hurt after a few reps. So I've already foam rolled before the squats. Now if I use a little bit of foam rolling, do a little bit of foam rolling in between the squat reps, then I actually improve my range during those reps, and then I can go back and get in a few more reps of my squats. Yes, it's good to know the science behind it. I thought it'll make more sense if I explained a little bit of science. Hi Ankur, how are you? So what we want to do is you can use it, like I said, if you're having some issues with your range, you can use it in the middle of your workout. Otherwise, you can use it as a great warm-up tool as well as a recovery tool, because it does help with a little bit of DOMS, which is your soreness that you experience right after your workout. So yes, it's great for your low back pain. Now, I'm not just going to give you guys vague, uses, because pain can be from a lot of things, and I'm not with you right now assessing your body, assessing your ranges and your symptoms or anything like that to give you a proper diagnosis. But pain can be from multiple reasons. But yes, stiff muscles is one of the main reasons, especially if you are a fit individual. So my back pain was persistent. It was chronic for many months. And the only thing I had to do, apart from finding the right kind of movement, is use this guy like non-stop. So I had very stiff quads. I was very quad dominant. I had very inactive glutes. So my quads started becoming really tight, and my hip flexors, the muscle up here, started becoming extremely tight and was pulling my back, which is why I had chronic back pain. So that's how I got rid of my back pain, from a lot of foam rolling. And then after foam rolling, I used that range to get into good movements, and then the movement started allowing me to strengthen my weak muscles. So all right, so I'm just seeing if you guys have any more specific questions about foam rolling. So now that you have your basics about foam rolling, we can start a little bit of foam rolling. So let me start with the back, which is the most common thing. You see a lot of people use this in the gym. I'm gonna start with a little bit of foam rolling off my back, hopefully. Actually, I don't need the mat for the back. So how we're going to start foam rolling the back is, you're going to start from the low back. Now you never foam roll over joints. You always want to foam roll the muscle, and also you want to foam roll over the muscles which have bones underneath. Okay, there's no point of me foam rolling my waist up here. There's no bony surface for you to push the muscle onto. Okay, so you're not going to feel the effects of the foam rolling. You're not going to feel the myofascial release. So what you want to do is actually find muscle groups which have bony surfaces underneath, so you have enough of that pressure. So I'm going to start with my low back. I don't need to go over the bottom of my spine. So I'm going to start with my low back, and then I'm going to try and roll all the way up to my upper back. So I'm going to walk with my feet. You can even support your head if you want, have your hands forward if you want, and we just go back and forth. Okay, so this is how we're going to roll. So I'm going to, as much as possible, try and find a good angle so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm starting off like this. The main thing is you want to try and keep your core active. I know it's a lot of things to think about, but just try and keep your core active. And how many times do you do it and how often? You want to at least do 2 to 5 minutes on every muscle group. There's no point if you just go back and forth really quick and switch to another muscle group. You want to go really slow with it. So I'm going to really make sure I'm finding all those trigger points. And if you find any specific area of that muscle which feels extremely tender, let's say my upper back is really sore. So I'm just going to put in a little bit more pressure with my body, and I'm going to go very slowly, multiple times, to sort of release that trigger point. So I'm just supporting my neck here, and I'm just going over my upper back, and I'm going to roll back onto my mid back up here. And you can even adjust the foam roller by dropping it down. That's my low back. And again, I'm walking forward with my feet and going all the way up. Alright, like I said, 2 to 5 minutes every muscle group, but obviously I'm not gonna go over this for too long. Maybe spend about 2 minutes, a couple of laps up and down, and then we can switch to another muscle group. So this was for the back, entire chunk of your back muscles. I'm just readjusting my foam roller, going over it again. So my low back is a bit stiff, so I'm just going to go over it multiple times. Alright, so on the day we're going to do mobility, which is, I'm not sure if it's this weekend or the next week. I'm going to show you a little bit of mobility with the foam roller for those who have the foam roller. But for today, it's just about myofascial release, so I'm not going to show mobility with this yet. Okay, so that was for your back, the entire back. Now to get the lats, which are the muscles that pop when you do your pull-ups, those are your lats. I'm going to try and get those. So for this, since I told you guys that you have to find a muscle that's right underneath the bone, so I'm going to use only the part where my rib cage ends, not the waist. Okay, so my rib cage obviously ends up here, so I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to just go over the lats, and I'm using my legs to walk back and forth. Okay, so just going over my lats now. Any trigger points? Now this part is extremely sore for me, so I'm just going over it multiple times. And if you're not making faces while you're foam rolling, you're not doing it right. So make sure you're really finding those trigger points and going over them multiple times. I hope my audio is clear today. I'm not playing any music, just so it's clear. So if it is clear, guys, give me a couple of thumbs up so I can actually see that from here. Alright. You can even adjust the angle, so understand there are different, thank you for the thumbs up, thank you guys. So understand that there are so many muscles, alright, so I'm not going to go over the names of the muscles, but at different angles, you cover a different muscle group. So I want you guys to find different angles. So let's say I'm right here, right now facing forward. I can even fall forward a little bit and get a different muscle group. Okay, so try and find all the trigger points. See which ones are hurting the most, and you're just going to put pressure onto it. Remember, it should not be painful, alright? So the whole science behind myofascial release is that there should just be enough of a discomfort that would send signals to your brain to calm down those muscles. But if there's pain, let's say there's excruciating pain, it's going to be counterproductive. It's going to tighten up the muscle as it works. So you don't want to put in too much pressure. Let's say you did a heavy session of squats the previous day, and today it's unbearably sore. There's no point putting more pressure with the foam roller. You want to go a little bit easy, and just so you're making the most of the foam roller. So I'm done with this side. I'm just going to switch. So just getting my lats. It's a little bit difficult to get a few muscles which are smaller with the foam roller because the surface area is so wide, which is where your lacrosse balls, your foam balls come in for a more targeted muscle release. Okay, I'm just going over whatever feels extremely sore and tight. Yep. Trust my dog to video bomb. Thanks to the lockdown, he knows exactly how I talk to the phone, whether it's my clients that I train or these live sessions or other videos. So he parks his ass right in between me and the phone because he just wants all my attention to himself. Okay, that was for your lags, guys. Now I'm going to move to the quads, which will probably be extremely painful if you guys have been doing my burpee challenges. So I like to use the mat for one knee, which is going to be on the floor, and the other leg is going to be in the air. Now I'm going to go over a few points with regards to foam rolling your quads. Now, whichever leg is on the foam roller, you want to make sure the foot is touching the floor, okay? You don't want to leave the leg in the air like that. You always want to drag the foot down. So imagine your leg is entirely paralyzed and you're just moving yourself, okay? That's how you foam roll. So let's say I keep my leg stiff and my leg is in the air and other muscles are all tight. That's not going to help. So you just want to relax completely, leave your body weight to the foam roller, and then slowly move back and forth, okay? So now I'm foam rolling my right leg. I've rested my knee on the left knee on the floor, and if you want to put more pressure, you get onto your elbows. If you want to put less pressure, you can just get onto your hands. But there's no point just bending your back like this. Keep your core active, keep the spine flat, and then we go in. So I like getting onto my elbows. So those with back pain, try and focus on the top of your quads, at the hip crease, or wherever you find the most soreness or anywhere you find the tender points. Like for me, the middle chunk of my quads is extremely sore from all the burpees. So I'm just going to get a little bit of that. And also the quads have 3 parts, okay? Now I'm not going to go over the muscles, it's too intricate. But you're gonna try and get the center, the inner, and the outer part of your quad. So right now I'm just getting the center, so you need to face forward. Don't twist sideways, you need to face forward. Make sure your hips are facing forward. I'm only getting the front of my quads, the center part. This part is the most sore, so I'm just gonna get this. I'm still dragging my foot, guys. I'm making sure my foot is not in the air. After I finish the quads, I'm going to come back for questions in case you guys have any questions about foam rolling. So right now I can't see your questions, but I just assume that my voice is clear. Okay, now I'm going to get the outer part of my quad. So I'm just going to twist on myself, okay? So again, always make sure your leg is in the center of the foam roller, perpendicular to the foam roller. Okay, I'm just moving back and forth. I'm going to get the side of my leg. See? Again, I'm dragging the foot. The foot is not, I'm just showing you guys, the foot is not in the air. I'm dragging the foot. It's down on the floor. And I'm just moving sideways. So you never go over joints, okay? I'm not going to go over my knee joint. I'm not going to go over my hip joint. I'm just getting the muscle, the chunk of the muscle. Just adjusting it. Again, the middle of the quads is the most sore for me. I'm just going to go over it multiple times until I feel relief. Okay, so I'm going to cover the center and the outer part of my left leg as well, then come back to the inner thigh. I'm going to show you different ways to do the inner thigh. So facing forward first. Making sure I'm really dragging the foot, it's not in the air, and also making sure I'm not twisting side to side. So just keeping my hips square. This is extremely sore. So I'll be honest, I don't make enough time for foam rolling. But let's say there are days I'm prepared to do extremely heavy strength training, then I make sure I foam roll properly before the workout and also during my sets. But on days I'm just doing conditioning and functional cardio or functional strength, I don't really give much importance to foam rolling. But I'm guilty of not doing that. I need to be doing a little bit more foam rolling, especially because I have a degenerated disc bulge and I need to be careful of what I'm doing. But on heavy strength days, I make sure I foam roll before and during the workout. Ideally, foam roll whenever you feel stiff, foam roll if you have injuries and tight muscles, foam roll as a good prep for the workout, and foam roll as a good way to stretch, or not stretch completely but recover after the workout. Okay, I'm gonna get the outer parts. I'm just turning around, still dragging my foot. There are also a couple of vibrating foam rollers which are decent. I've tried them. I didn't feel much of a difference, but it's pretty good because it does put in a little bit more of that pressure while you're moving the foam rollers, so it works. Alright. So how do we get the inner quads? Okay, the inner part of the quads. So it's a little bit tricky. There are two different ways you do it. I'm going to see if I can use this little bench sort of a thing up here. So there are two ways. One way is you hold it this way, and you want to keep your leg perpendicular to the foam roller. So I've just folded my leg and I'm just rolling it back and forth. Now obviously this is a lesser surface area. If you have a bench that would be longer and you can move sideways, I'm just showing you guys one option of doing this. So I can place my inner thigh perpendicular to the foam roller and I can go in and out. This is one way you can release the inner thigh, but of course the other way is on the floor, where I like to just straighten out one leg and let the foam roller go sideways. Okay, so I'm still bending. I can do this. I can also, it's a bit uncomfortable, I'll agree, but this is one other way where I just get the innermost portion of the quads. So this may make you arch your back a little bit, but I want you guys to engage the core. Okay, how? Imagine someone's always punching you. So if I'm here and someone's punching me, I'm just going to hold that in. So that's how you want to make sure your back is protected at all times. So I'm just getting the inner portion of my quads. I'm going to get it on both sides. So ideally the bench would be better for me. I just use, when I'm in the gym I use the bench, but here since there's no option, we're just going to do this. Okay, so we covered the back, we covered the lats, we covered the quads. Now coming to the hamstrings and the calf. Now for the hamstrings, if you one of the main thing is that never use both legs together. Okay, there's always, it's pretty much ineffective, so you want to always use one leg at once. Is Asi covering the screen? No, okay. So with the hamstrings and the calf, I like to put pressure with the other leg. So let's say I'm getting the hamstrings right now. So I'm just going to try and cross it over, not just cross, but I'm going to put pressure with my other leg this way, and I'm going over my hamstrings. Okay, so I feel foam rolling is quite not as effective for the hamstrings because I feel like they need a lot more pressure. So try and get someone to smash it with either a lacrosse ball or a chapati roller, or even this. If you are lying down and someone's smashing it over you, that's way more effective than you doing it yourself. Okay, so this is me getting my hamstrings. And if I wanted to move to my calf, I'm just going to do the same thing. Now remember, the calf has three bellies as well, the center, the outer and the inner. So now I'm just getting the center of the calf. So I'm just putting pressure with my other leg and I'm just going over. So there's a little bit of an upper body workout as well, but you just have to be, ready for that. So I'm just getting the center first, and now I'm getting the outer part. So for the time being, I'm not showing my other leg, so I'm just getting the outer part. I'm just putting a lot of pressure with my own body. And then getting the inner part just a little bit. Okay, doing the same with my hamstrings on the other side. So putting pressure with my other leg, one leg at a time. But I not just suggest, but I urge everyone to invest in a foam roller. There's nothing like having one as a recovery tool. I know of too many clients whose knee pain and back pain has disappeared just from foam rolling instantly. So they just foam roll for a couple of minutes, they come back to the floor and they're pain free. A lot of times pain is mechanical and we don't realize it. Of course, there are a lot more reasons for having pain, a lot more internal reasons, but most of the time, if you're into fitness, it's mechanical. So simple muscle release is all you need. I'm just getting the calf. It's sore. This is also where you see your asymmetries. My right calf is more sore than my left quads are more sore than my right. It's like a struggle, it's like a battle I never win. Okay, I'm getting the inner belly and then the outer belly. Okay, now I got my quads. What am I left with? So we can do a little bit of rolling of the glutes as well. It's not as efficient, but I'm still going to show you guys how you can roll your glutes with the foam roller. So let's say I'm just sitting on the foam roller, okay? My butt is in the center of the foam roller. I'm just going to, whichever side I'm rolling, I'm going to lift that leg up. So I'm going to try and roll my butt, my glutes basically, and try and find some trigger points. So for me, it's going to be obviously my glute med. So even for y'all, you're going to find a lot of soreness on the upper portion of your glutes. So try and roll over that a little bit. If you're not comfortable with this position, you can just even, get your feet down and roll over your glutes a little bit. Again, for the glutes, the foam ball and the lacrosse ball are most efficient. But I'm just going to show you all that you can even do it with the foam roller. So I'm just putting in a little bit of pressure. Do have a few trigger points here. I'm just trying to release those. So just changing sides, getting the other side of my glutes. we pretty much covered the back, the lats, the quads, the hamstrings, the calves, and even to some extent the glutes. Now, smaller muscles like things like your arms, shoulders, you're not going to be able to really get it on the foam roller because think about this, such a small surface. But there are ways you can maybe use the wall. So let's say I'm trying to get my, obviously the ball is better, the lacrosse ball, but I'm still going to try and use a little bit of, try and put in pressure like this and go up and down with my arms. That's one way you can do it. But I would still suggest that you stick to a foam ball or a lacrosse ball for smaller muscles like your shoulders, the middle of your shoulder blades, which are your rhomboids, all these tiny muscles like your teres minor, teres major, all these muscles you're gonna find more use with a foam ball or a lacrosse ball than with a foam roller. So any questions about foam rollers, guys? I'm just gonna check, and if no one has any questions, I'm just going to, why is it so painful? Why is foam rolling painful, or why is everything hurting for me? Because I've been doing my own burpee battle and it's been really bad. Okay, so that's a gist of the science behind foam rolling and how you can use your foam roller. If you don't have a foam roller at home, then you can use the chapati roller as I was suggesting.